Broads Media.
I was informed that baseball season was supposed to be fun. I'm not having fun. Not right now, I'm not. Hey, if you're new to the channel, welcome on in. You can smash the subscribe button and the like button as well. Thank you. You can take me on the road with you too, by the way. Go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, search Sports Talk with Broads. Leave a 5-star rating and a review. That will mean the absolute world to me. We are 2 ratings shy of 200 over on Apple Podcasts, so that'll be a nice little number to get to. Can't thank you all enough for that. And lastly, Coffee with Broads live streams twice a week here on YouTube. All you have to do is join the memberships. All the information is down below in the description. You also get access to our Discord channel as well. You guys are the best. Seriously, I can't thank you enough for all the crazy, wild love and support. Without you, this wouldn't be real. So you guys are the greatest, and enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? Welcome on in to Sports Talk with Broads. We sit here on a Thursday trying to catch a vibe, trying to get a pulse of the fan base, because if I'm being open and honest, I'm scared as hell. I am nervous thinking about Seattle. Forget for one moment that the Dodgers are looking for some serious revenge for how embarrassed they were in South Philly not too long ago. And don't even get me started on what normally goes down when you go to Arizona. We got to get to those series first. So let's look at Seattle. And the amount of uncomfortable that's sitting in my gut makes me want to puke. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. They've been playing horrible baseball. But I would like to think that this travel day, this off day, will let me reassess my thoughts and at least find some positivity. But I'm a worrier right now. Bryce is going through a 1 for 30 stretch. Now listen to me. Damn it, listen to me. He will snap out of this. That's probably the most confident I am in any part of this team right now when looking at all the issues. My most confident take is Bryce will be fine, and he'll get hot, and he'll get scorching hot soon. I don't know if it's Seattle, though. And I don't know if there's enough surrounding him, if Trey is still going to be bad, if Stott is still going to be bad, if Marsh is striking out against right-handed relief pitchers with the bases loaded. I'm just saying, if the game's going to come down to the line, and it'll be down to the wire, and the game is on the line with the number 9 hitter, Johan Rojas, and then you have to pinch hit for him and rely on Weston Wilsons of the world, it's going to be problematic. It's almost like, though, when I go and get blood work, and I see the results on my Jefferson lab chart, and it says your triglycerides are through the roof. So in my head, it's, all right, dude, you got about 5 hours to live. In reality, all I got to do is take fish oil. Well, that's what I'm hoping applies to the Phillies in some way, shape, or form. Here's the Phillies. Their triglycerides are through the roof, and all they need is fish oil. Fish oil being, I don't know, getting away from Philadelphia for a bunch of games and having an off day. That's their version of fish oil. I guess the problem is it takes a long time for the fish oil to get those numbers down. Is 1 day of travel and having that off day enough? I don't know how the hell we just got on medication, but it doesn't matter. What matters is our baseball team and the fact that they can't win at all right now. And they are so down bad. And it really does start with Bryce, just because when things are going well and when he's fantastic, we give him all the love in the world. And reasonably so. And more times than not, he is a star. National League Player of the Month, MVPs. This guy is serious. Just throughout his whole career, the guy's clearly dominant. When it gets this ugly, though, we have to look at the best players, no matter what. Now, Bryce Harper was hitting 400 over this last 40-game run where they are definitely underperforming. Then I probably won't be even looking in Bryce's direction. But that's not the case. So when it gets this bad, there's nothing wrong with criticizing him. We are very awkward in this city in regards to how we are responding to Bryce's lows. If Joel Embiid shot the equivalent of 1 for 30 in a basketball game, these people want him gone in a second. If Jalen Hurts had 3 games that were poor after being an MVP-type quarterback for, 2 years ago, he was it. Then last year he was through 11 games, at least in the conversation that is. And if he had 3 bad games, it's, get this guy out of here. He's just a running back. There's all these crazy takes. Bryce can do no wrong. He's doing wrong right now. It's not for a lack of trying. It's not for a lack of focus. It's not for a lack of want to, will, character flaws. None of that stuff. I need the production, though. And it's not going to be surprising when he starts to get smoother in the box. I bet you the rest of the team and the vibes and the winning picks up too. So as I alluded to earlier in the show, I expect it to happen soon. I just feel really weird at the same time. I'm lost. So a lot of these feelings conflict with one another. They all don't align. But I think that's sort of why you get this nauseous feeling, is because there's so much happening at once and they're all bouncing off each other, emotionally that is, where it's unsettling. And that's where I currently sit here today. So what I want to do is I want to just honestly run through the Anytime Hotline and allow all of you to react to what we saw against the Yankees as the Phillies get swept, and it makes me sick to my stomach. But I get it. I use this as therapy, all right? Because when bad things happen, I need about a half hour to get it off my chest so I don't take it out on the family. You know what I'm saying? The dogs. I don't want to play with you, Zola. I'm pissed. Or, hey, Brooklyn, I know you want your father tonight to read you a book, but did you see Bryce? Did you see what Bryce did? I can't have that happen. So I have to thank all of you for allowing me to sit here in my office to rant for as long as I need to on any given day so my family can love me. The least I could do is pay that back in favor for you guys. So let's go to the phones. Let's hear your thoughts. Maybe there's some don't worry about it calls in there. I'm not sure. Maybe there's they still have one of the best records in the league. Look at what the Yankees just went through and then how they destroyed you or destroyed us. And now they seem to be riding high with all this motivation and crazy sense of urgency running through the Jazz Chisholm move and all that stuff. I don't know. I'm just assuming most of it's negative. I don't know how to be positive right now. All right, I'll shut up and stop yapping.
Yo, bros, this is Gary from South Jersey. Listened to you guys for a while. Love your show. You're one of my new favorite guys. Just got done watching this god-awful series. I don't know what's up with Harper. Obviously, he's kind of like the stir to this drink here, so he's got to get right, and I think a lot of things will clean up. But I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if he's hurt.
Oh, no. No! No! Wait! Is he there a little bit? Oh! All right, listen. I think there's something to chew on there. Thanks for all the kind words, Gary. Something that you brought up, though, was about the injury. And I've heard that for a little bit of time now. Maybe he's injured. And I just don't know if the Phillies, with the mindset being, I want to go win a championship now, regardless on the trade deadline and what the lack of moves might say and all. Reality is, John Middleton and Dave Dombrowski made a statement that the way this team is going to accomplish their goal, whether you believe that it's the right decision or not, the way they deem that this is the right way to move forward is to look at all the stars and all the players in that clubhouse and say, it's essentially on you. Yes, Austin Hayes is here. We made improvements to the pen, but it's on the fellas that have been putting in the blood, sweat, and tears for the last couple of years here now, trying to make that playoff push and that surge. You have to now be a dominating force for us to get there. And knowing that, if Bryce Harper wasn't feeling great or was so hurt that he'd be performing at a 1-for-30 level, there's no way they can trot him out there. And I'm a big believer in Bryce makes the decisions around here. He tells Dave what he wants to do. He tells Rob what he wants to do. Hell, he's the reason why JT got signed. So he tells Dave what to do with John Middleton's money sometimes. That's how much power he has in this franchise. So if he wanted to play at 70%, 75%, 65%, and maybe the front office thought it's not best for the long run here, we need you as crisp as humanly possible in the fall, there's no way they would allow for him to continue to play if the result is 1-for-30. And it's because of an injury or because he's not healthy. Because it doesn't benefit anybody. If he was playing at 70% and hitting 270 or hitting 275 or hitting 250, let's say, that would be underwhelming for Bryce, right? 250 in a 5-6 week span and playing at 70%. We're like, hey, we know Bryce has another level in him, right? Even that would open up the door for some version of dialogue and debate. But I just can't find it reasonable to see him be as tragic as he is. Arguably his worst career ever. I don't think he's ever done this when he was 10, 11, 12, 13. He's probably hitting 722 when he was that young. He probably had 92 bombs when he was 11 years old. Guy's been a superstar his whole damn life. So when it's this bad and there's a correlation with an injury, the Phillies would have stepped in. Unless they didn't. And if that's the case, well, that's malpractice. If they're truly letting him go because he wants to, with the vision of we need everyone here to be a force because we didn't get anyone at the deadline for a reason, we're applying all the pressure on the ones right now. What are you running him through the gauntlet for? If he's dealing with something and also not producing. You know what I'm saying? So I would be extremely angry at Dave. I'd be extremely disappointed in Rob. Rob is Mr. We're being precautious. He's Mr. No way am I going to allow Trey Turner to pinch run or JT to get in at bat or whatever it is. Man, I've heard so many things over the years and over this year. Oh, I can't put him out there. He just blah, 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 blah. Oh, you want me? He's only pitched 5 times. You want me to put him out for a 6? No, we got to be precautious. Blah, 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 blah. Yet Bryce is broken in 7 different places, hitting 1-for-30. We believe in you here, kid. There's no way that that's the case. So that's why I lean on the side of he's just going through it more than anything else. Appreciate the call, Gare. Let's go to the next call.
You know what, bros? I'm not even mad anymore. Or maybe I'm so mad that I turned all the way around to numbness. I'm really not sure anymore. this team is so out of sorts it's not even funny anymore. Bryce Harper and Trey Turner and Kyle Schwarber. Schwarber's been doing a bit better, but those three need to get their heads out of their asses. I don't know what's been going on with them. I don't know why they seem to have their slumps synced up like this, but they need to get their heads out of their ass. It's bad. Because so far, pretty much the whole rest of the team, save for a couple of mess-ups here and there, have been doing their job. There's been moments where they failed to do what they should have done, but it's not like they're no-shows, whereas those three absolutely are. They're supposed to be the best three bats in our lineup, and they're doing nothing. And you can tell just because Alec Boehm hasn't gotten any RBIs recently. He has nobody to put in, he has no one to knock in. So, I don't know what needs to happen, but these guys need to get their heads out of their asses, because this is I probably am more frustrated with the Phillies than I ever have been in my life. Even losing the World Series and getting knocked out of by the Diamondbacks, somehow not anywhere near as frustrating as the slump that they're going on right now.
That's just recency biased. That's just recency biased. The NLCS against Arizona will truly be stuck in my blood until I no longer live on planet Earth. And then when I'm in heaven or hell, wherever I end up, that was a bad joke. I'll be looking down, all right? Jesus Christ, what the hell was that? I'll be looking down, still probably wondering how they lost the NLCS. The 22 World Series I can cope with. I can understand how they lost. Truly, I am giving so much respect for that Houston team that I understand it wasn't our time yet. But against the Diamondbacks, especially against that Rangers team, the time was there. They truly did piss away that chance. But this one, not yet. All right, doesn't line up to an NLCS Game 6, Game 7 against a bad team at home with Nolan Wheeler. It doesn't. So I think that's just recency bias. Now, with the Boehm thing, it's interesting you bring up just the fact that maybe he hasn't had the ability to knock in some runs because of how bad Trey was, because of how bad Bryce Harper has been in front of him. I don't know if that's giving Boehm too much of a free pass, though. I want to see what he hits recently. Because you're not wrong to mention how tragic, and I mean tragic, a lot of the ones in front of him have been. He had 2 hits in that final game. One really nice double. He had an RBI in there too, didn't he? Oh, no, he had the triple. Sorry. No, he had an RBI. One hit. Nothing. Okay. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell just looking at the hits. Maybe you're right. Maybe it feels a little weaker on Boehm's part just truly because if Bryce is struggling as bad as he is, and same with Trey and whatnot, then, I guess it does have a snowball effect on how we're feeling about Boehm. I was just going off a feel that, hey, maybe we should be blaming Boehm more than we are. Maybe you're giving him a free pass just because of the issues in front of him, but we can still study the Boehm thing too. And like I said, I don't know if maybe just looking at the amount of hits per game tells a full story because, well, against the Yankees in the 12 extra inning game, he had 6 at-bats and came away with 1 hit. And in the 14-4 game, which when you give up that many runs, I mean, there's only so much you can do, but he had 4 at-bats, he had 1 hit. 1 hit. We're looking at a lot of these games, he has 1 hit. I mean, if you're getting 4 at-bats, you're hitting 250 or so, and I'm just generalizing it, but you kind of get where I'm getting at here. But yeah, these guys got to get going. These guys have to get going. And another concern of mine is, even if they're not, quote, raking the way we need them to be, they are still solidifying themselves throughout 7 innings, 8 innings, as the team that should win. If you're up 4-1, if you're up 7-3, if you're up 3-0, it can't be 3-3 at the bottom half of the next inning. We watched that happen with Aaron Nola. You're up 3-0, you're down, or you're tied 3-3. And then you were up 7-3, 7-4. You probably could have had more runs piled in This probably was the Pittsburgh series, if my mind remembers correctly. Maybe Minnesota, but I think it was Pittsburgh. That might have been the game where Jose Alvarado ended up blowing it. Regardless on which one. There's so many of them that I'm starting to lose track. And if there's that many to run through, we got problems, big fella. You know what I'm saying? So damn. The offense might be squandering a bunch of bases loaded at-bats and all of it. But if you're up 3 runs, win the damn game. And maybe that's what Tanner Banks can do. Maybe that's what Estevez can do. Can give you a lefty that you can rely on where his name isn't Gregory Soto. Hey, ballsy move, Baltimore, to go out there and go try Craig Kimbrell, Sir Anthony Dominguez, and Gregory Soto. That's desperation. It truly is. There's no way that that's going to hold up through the next few months into the playoffs. There are already question marks as it is. And Craig Kimbrell's been in the league for 10 billion years. So his wear and tear, he's probably got no tread left. That's why you had to make the decisions you made at the deadline as it is. I haven't even touched on the starting pitching yet because Ranger is a huge concern. I can't rely on that. One thing I'm truly worried about, like truly worried about is I don't think we're going to get consistently, maybe a start here and there. But I'm not talking about a start here and there. I'm talking about the real thing here. I'm not sure a Ranger can give a sub-2 ERA Ranger. And while you don't need that to survive, you could survive with a 3 ERA Ranger. But what put you over the edge as a juggernaut is a wave of a 3-headed monster in Wheeler Nola Ranger. Sanchez is fine for regular season 4, and it's an interesting type of start in a postseason spot if we get to the Christopher Sanchez playoff conversation one day. I probably don't love it as much as others love it. I don't hate it. It's not the worst case scenario in the world either. I think you can survive with it, but there's a big difference between surviving with the starter and then being a killer with the starter and being the reason why you win. The starter is the reason why you win. That's what Ranger was doing. Scary stuff. Now it's more of a toss-up, and I'm even starting to speculate if it makes more sense to eventually have to move him to the pen because we can't squeeze what we need out of Ranger as a starter anymore. It's not an excuse. There's actually real substance to the discussions about not pitching so many innings before and then hitting a wall in the season. Like your body's just not used to it, and you truly can't get over it if your body doesn't know how to get over it. So we'll see. Maybe that's just me being super scared and super pessimistic, but I'm scared about Ranger. Big time. Let's go back to the phones.
Yo, what's up, Rhodes? I've been calling in a lot. I've just been so frustrated with this team, especially in this month of July. It's been brutal to watch. I mean, 5 straight series losses, including this sweep at home to the Yankees. I mean, it's just brutal. And I would like to say that we expect better and we should get better from this team. But it's alarming to see that in their last 41 games, they're 18-23. You know, in the month of June, they did go 15-11. But still, I mean, they're just not playing good at all. I mean, there's nothing good to take away from. Once again, we get the bases loaded in the 8th inning. Just a base hit would give us the lead, and Marsh strikes out on, I believe, 3 pitches. And, you know, last night we had the bases loaded multiple times, couldn't get the winning run in. You know, it just feels like these games we were winning, you know, in April, in May, in June. We were winning these games. And listen, I get every team goes through a bad stretch, but this is awful, man. I mean, there is nothing I could take away. And I thought Sanchez pitched okay. You know, I hated that, you know, he gave up the 2 base runners. And I believe it was the top of the 6th inning with 2 outs. And that led to frickin' DJ LeMahieu, who's been a nobody for the past 4 to 5 years. kicking our butt today.
I can't believe it. I can't believe that I had to sit there and watch DJ LeMahieu knock in 6 runs, hit a grand slam. It's so infuriating. Now, a few things there. I do believe that in other times of the schedule that the Phillies were winning, quote, these type of games. Absolutely. I remember being on the record a bunch talking about what's really cool about this team is if you are going to constantly make mistakes, the Phillies will truly make it hurt. They will absolutely kick you below the belt where you're sitting there sucking your thumb, praying that your balls get out of your stomach. And instead, this series, dude, the Yankees were trying to give this up. Gleyber Torres tried his very best to make as many errors over at second that he humanly could make, regardless on how Major League Baseball scored it or not. That guy is a stiff. A stiff. The amount of plays, truly, in a 3-game sample size that I witnessed him screw up that he probably should have 6, 5, 4, I don't know, anywhere between 4, 5, and 6. He's terrible. He's terrible. And I thought, Boone allowing Marsh to see a righty. No matter how much stuff you believe in with who your reliever is and, hey, he's good here. I mean, Brandon Marsh totally had a chance there against a righty. That's it right there. What has Brandon Marsh hit against righties this year? I think that's an important note. Now, let's see it not be as much as I want to believe it is. But he damn sure can't hit lefties, okay? I'll tell you that for free. This season, he is hitting .271 against right-handed pitching with 11 home runs, 9 doubles, a couple triples. .271. And it wasn't as if he put together some savvy at bat. Not that it would have mattered if he put together an 8-9 pitch AB if the result was still not coming up clutch. But don't you think that there would be at least something to see in a competitive at bat? It was 4 pitches. 4 pitches. And he never looked comfortable in that box, whether he was overthinking, whether he put too much pressure on himself, whether he was squeezing the bat too tightly because he desperately wanted it bad and he wanted CBP to erupt. And, you know, it's interesting I say that. I remember hearing somebody call into a previous show and mentioning Stott's struggles, and this technically applied to Stott, but maybe we should branch open to it meaning more. To other players, that is. And, you know, maybe the reason why Stott is struggling, and my big takeaway on it is he's stuck between a couple of different approaches. But this individual brought up that here he comes up to the plate. Here's the song. Hey-oh, hey-oh, okay, right? He's got this thing, and he knows what the moment's like, and it's cool. And is he putting too much stock into, you know, like stepping up to the plate and knowing that the fans are on their feet waiting for something magical to happen after singing his song, and the energy is somewhat right there. It's teetering along the lines of, yo, this is going to be electric, or, ooh, hey, Bryson, dude, that was a rough AB. You know what I'm saying? So sort of on edge during his at-bats. And I almost want to take it a step further where bases loaded, Brandon Marsh, the reason why we are so awesome in town is because of CBP getting on fire when something clutch goes down. And is it possible that a lot of these guys, when they're in the box, they want it that bad? They want that pop. They want that wow. They want what Austin Hayes was feeling after he hit his blast of the emotions taking over his body, looking at the dugout, doing a mean, heavy flex in front of himself as he's rounding first base. That feeling that a lot of them have felt over the last few years, oh man, what is it? The word's escaping me. not contagious, but it's addicting. It's addicting. And are they thinking of the moment instead of allowing it to happen naturally? Maybe. Maybe. Because I know I'd want to be the guy. I want to be the one that makes everybody spiral out of control and start funneling beer through their nostrils because I hit a 3-run blast, of course. Or in Brandon Marsh's case, a grand slam against the Yankees, of course. You got to keep that in check, though, because the alternative is this result, if that's the case. I'm just speculating, but right now, all I have is speculation because we're trying to figure out what is going wrong. And is it possible that that's something that's going wrong? All right, let's go to Sean.
Yes, you can't stop the machine that is DJ freaking LeMahieu. I mean, you couldn't write this script, Hunter. You can't make this shit up. I mean, nowhere in your wildest dreams when you thought of this team going in a slump could you have foreseen this. Austin Hayes, not once but twice, has balls that look like they're going out of the park that die inexplicably against the wall. You're losing to starters making their major league debuts. You're losing to openers. You're losing to the Oakland A's at home. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So now we move forward. The trading deadline is over. We can bitch, scream about what they should have done and didn't. That's in the rearview mirror. The playoffs start for me for the Phillies on Friday night. If they go out west and they go 2-8 in a 10-game, barometer or whatever, they're done. They are done.
I like that approach. I do. I like that mentality of the playoff start Friday. I might dive into that a little bit. I like that. Honestly, I haven't even given my full assessment on the deadline, and I don't think there's much to be said. It was an interesting market. It feels to me that a lot of the teams in contention are upset with their president of baseball ops. You got to realize that the new wild card format has changed the way a lot of teams have looked at themselves at the deadline, and also with the ability for the Phillies to thrive like they did as wild card teams while other teams are, quote, sitting back and waiting, and it messes up the flow. Right now we're in this awkward phase of trying to figure out exactly what's the best way to attack if you are a president. With that said, if I had to label my thoughts and opinions just in a word, it would be underwhelmed. I'm underwhelmed by it more than I am overwhelmed or just whelmed. I'm a little underwhelmed with it. They got marginally better. They did. They upgraded 2 bullpen spots on both sides of the mound, left arm, right arm. They upgraded in both of those areas, going from Soto to Sir Anthony, and they're both out of here, shipped out of town, and bringing in Estevez and Tanner Banks. They're better, so they got better there. Interesting, though, to see the Soto trade, how it happened, and Dave made it clear that he wouldn't have done that if he didn't get Tanner Banks, which, yeah, of course. And Austin Hayes is fine. It just depends on how the shakeup is. Is he an everyday guy? Is he not an everyday guy? Does he prove Rob Thompson to be right? Are they going to throw Rojas in there too much? Does Brandon Marsh turn it around? I mean, there's so many variables here. I like the Austin Hayes move just in general as a one-off type of thing. I think the payout was solid, considering or the trade-off was solid. With Sir Anthony and Pache, who's already out of the Baltimore thing, they said goodbye to you. I mean, he stinks. He's just not worth it. So you gave up a struggling Sir Anthony for an Austin Hayes. I think that's cool. I'm all right with it. But I'm underwhelmed in the grand scheme of things, and that's how I would somewhat wrap up the deadline for me. And there's nothing you can do about it now. This is who they are. This is who they're going to war with, and we'll see if they're able to be the team we need them to be. And I guess it starts, as Sean mentioned, Friday when the playoffs begin. All right, everybody, I appreciate it. Thank you guys all so much for hanging out with me. You guys are the greatest in the world. You know I love you to death. And I will catch you guys all on the next one.